Yo, I think we should talk. It's time to talk about a game that caught my interest a while ago, and I am now proud to say I'm a part of the alpha test for. Let's talk about Breaker Ascension and why I believe you should be keeping your eye on it, dear viewer, as an upcoming stylish action game that will definitely add to the genre in more ways than one. This is a wandering thought. Now let's go. Alright, so this game was something that was on my radar for a while as I perused the character action game subreddit. Yes, I use Reddit. It's like, it ain't a surprise if you watch my streams, and I personally don't believe using Reddit is as bad as people say. You just have to curate your experience, unlike a certain other website that I know about. But we'll talk about that completely another day, or on stream, something like that, whatever. Anyways, I caught this on the character action game subreddit a while ago and was just enamored by the flow of combat, the stage design, and like the enemy and even the MC's design. They all felt like they were working together in this strange, perfect harmony of things that didn't match but also matched at the same time. To start on the aesthetic, let's start with Mikey. I love his design. I fell in love immediately because I love characters with long coats, and I think his just design overall is really clean. It's got this modern aesthetic to it, with a nice like clean white coat, and the pants and the shoes all come together really nicely. And then it's juxtaposed by his weapons, which almost look fantasy future. I don't know what the exact aesthetic is called, but it looks really good. The weapons feel like there's something out of PSO2 or like, a tome weapon from Final Fantasy XIV, if any of you have ever played that. There's like a lot of things working together in his design, especially like the chain he uses to pull enemies in. It's like all really working well together. And then you have these enemies that are like demons from like another realm that also work with his design as well. Like they play off of each other, and then you have this like really beautiful environment with desaturated colors but still incredible set dressing and like visual design as well. It all plays together really nicely, kind of like a more cel shaded version of Ultra Age, if any of you have actually played that or even heard of it. It's a really interesting game, but I do think it has its own things I need to talk about in its own video. In case of Breaker Ascension, the game shows just a lot of promise already out the gate for an alpha, but I do believe there are some things that can be touched up upon. So let's go into the pros first. The pros are definitely, like I said, world design, enemy design, and character design. I can't wait to see if we're going to see more characters in the future for like Gatebreaker. But overall, I think if this like design aesthetic that Mikey has going for him is the baseline for how cool and clean characters are going to look forward, I'm happy. Like, I'll take it, man. Like, that's just what I need. And going into something else that's actually very important in the stylish action game, obviously, is the gameplay. And the gameplay is equal parts a pro and a con, because the pro for it is it's very fluid and actually doesn't really control the way you think it would. You have your square/X button for your melee attacks, triangle/Y is your range attack, and then you have a drop button. That's what the options menu calls it, but it's like a lock-on stance, kind of like Yakuza Devil May Cry, where you do a lot of like your launchers and shit. And your range attacks and your melee attacks have like different strings. I'm more surprised by the range attacks having strings, because we normally don't get stuff like that in stylish action games like at all. Like, it's not a norm. So it's nice to actually see a ranged weapon get some kind of variety in strings and inputs for things to do. It has a burst dash, it has a spinning shot, it has a dashing spinning shot, it has rainstorm, it has a spinning version of rainstorm where the enemy just kind of like gets fucked from every angle, no matter who you're fighting. That's just it, you get cooked, and I love that. And Mikey also has like a chain where he can pull himself towards enemies to bash them away or pull them into him, and it plays into a lot of his gameplay. You're probably seeing it on screen that I'm doing very roughly. It's equal parts a new system that I have to adjust to, and overall the general feel. The game has this weird, how do I put it, y'all have probably heard me say this before on stream or in other videos, sticky way of buttons working. You can't really like cancel things, and while yes, this is an alpha, I do believe it's important to bring this up as a point of feedback and to see how other people who have played this alpha or people who are watching the footage feel. It feels very sticky and strange to use. Like, you can't really go from // into shoot. Like, you can't do that unless you dash cancel it, and jump canceling, it's either not there or doesn't feel proper. and that all plays into when you go into your air combat, which makes it feel even weirder, where you have to like use your dashes and like try to go into your chain. It's like a link system in like a fighting game, like you're linking buttons instead of chaining them, so it's very odd. I do feel like the system in question will eventually be ironed out, and you know, we'll get like a smooth and fluid version of combat that, you know, the creator wants to have. And for what's here, I think it's a great base to then build into what will be a fantastic combat system that'll be memorable and used in many combo videos and combo mads, and you know, people just messing around and doing cool shit for ages. Like, it'll be there pretty much forever by the time it's done, and I can't wait to see more of what comes out of that. I will say, like, you know, missing the jump cancels and the enemy step mechanic is a bit of a letdown, but again, it's an alpha, so you know, it is what it is. And going from like your moveset, I feel like enemies are very well balanced now. I do think the bigger enemies should be spread out a little bit more from the smaller enemies. Like, you should probably try to use smaller enemies that have range attacks instead of using the smaller enemies that come in for melee strikes with the big enemies, because you can get stun locked, and it's very that's no good. I mean, granted, I've been in worse situations in action games before, so I can survive realistically anything that this game could throw at me, but that's just for an overall sense of balance, because when the enemies have this reactive system and like have towels for their attacks, and you can parry them with your shield or you can dodge them, you can use all of that together to create like great combat scenarios of like push and pull, a dance, like it becomes transactional in that moment, and I like that. And like the last thing I'll say about like the enemies is like the boss of the demo, it wasn't too easy, but it wasn't like ridiculously hard. I still got hit and still was able to adjust, but even then it feels like the way that works, I feel like that should be like bosses going forward, like a lot more complex patterns obviously, and like enemies that you have to worry about and stuff. Like, just work on that, because what you're seeing here, it can be way better. And of course, if it's already good and I think it could be way better, I think you can see where I'm going with like the ceiling of this game. And moving on from that, let's talk about how you control the game, because there is no camera controls. Now, wait, slow down. Look at me. I want you to understand, no camera controls is not a bad thing, because this uses deliberate swinging camera and deliberate camera position. Everything is placed in a way for the camera to be able to see almost everything, and you still are able to track enemies so long as you pay attention to your surroundings. And I think that is a good thing, because the right stick is actually dedicated to switching your weapons. Granted, in the demo stage, you don't have multiple weapons, but if you go to the arena or the training room, you can see you'll get a giant axe, a spear, staff, later, and a katana. I can't wait to see what those feel like in combat, and it's going to be really fucking fun messing around with those. I did kind of find out that the Challenge of the Gods thing does soft lock, or rather just crash the demo. So like, if you're in the alpha test, or if this demo comes out later, don't touch that. Do not touch that. It will lock the game. I also tried to like fry the game and like force a crash using like a combination of lightning spears and ice, and that didn't really work out too well. I have a 3060 in my computer, so you know, who knows, maybe the 3060 was just stronger than I thought. And in this case, I do believe that the game holds up very well for what's here in an alpha. And as someone who's like, you know, a relatively small VTuber, and I'm talking like sub 1000, I'm like 255 now, I think. This was a great opportunity for me, because I can definitely say it like shows me what people are doing, and I definitely want to be a part of more things like this, just giving my thoughts, feedback, and input. But you know, when we get above 1,000, we'll do this with bigger games and bigger whatever. But for now, I don't really care about the size of the game. That honestly, I'm not going to care about the size of the game anyways. I don't care about the size of the team, the game, or the budget. I care about what's here, and what's here in Breaker Ascension is fucking great. And I'm going to talk about it more when the game comes out, when it gets a different demo update, blah blah blah. When it gets like major milestone pushes to the development, I will be there, and I will always be checking it out, much like I did with King Static, and much like I'm going to be doing with another game I'll be talking about later, but we'll get to that when we get to that. But for now, I've been Wandering Sosuke. I want y'all to be easy, take care, have yourselves a damn good one, and of course, as always, stay gold. And of course, do like, comment, and subscribe. And let me know if you found this game through the Character Action Game subreddit, or if I introduced it to you. Anyways, I'm gonna take care. Off now. Gianna.